live. What is going on, Dodger fans? National League Championship Series Game 1 recap. Your Los Angeles Dodgers, I feel like I've been saying this a lot recently, barely survived to take Game 1 of the NLCS at the Milwaukee Brewers by a score 2-1. Blake Snell was absolutely phenomenal for the Los Angeles Dodgers tonight. Jake Reiner, there is nothing more I can really add about this guy. He has been absolutely lights out for the Dodgers. Tonight, he pitched the game of his life, his best performance as a Dodger by far in the postseason. 8 shutout innings, 10 strikeouts. Let's dive into this. We are brought to you by Believe and TickPick.
Kevin, he faced the minimum amount of batters tonight. He gave up a hit in like the 3rd inning and then picked that guy off. So he faced the minimum through 8 innings. The Brewers weren't touching him at all. There was they built 0 rallies against him. He didn't walk a single batter. That was also really crazy, Kevin, is that he typically walks a few batters. He didn't walk a single guy. And he absolutely just dominated this lineup. And it was huge. And the Dodgers needed every single one of those scoreless innings because of what we saw in the 9th inning, which I didn't know if my heart could take that if we lost that game. I was going to lose it. So there's a lot to dive into, but I'll end with my opening remarks with this. I think we're seeing one of, if not the greatest postseason starting pitcher ever. Like, he is otherworldly in the postseason, just like Kike Hernandez, but unlike Kike, Blake Snell's great in the regular season too. His career postseason stats, he's 7-3 with a 2.58 ERA. And in this postseason, he's 3-0 with a 0.86 ERA. Under 1. I've never seen anything like this. Could be the greatest postseason pitcher ever.
We'll see. Per OptaStats, Blake Snell is the first MLB pitcher to face the minimum, like you said, through 8 innings of a postseason game since Don Larson in his 1956 perfect game. Blake Snell, this guy with the ultimate redemption arc, will take you guys back to 2020 in the World Series, where Blake Snell was absolutely dealing against the Dodgers when he was then a member of the Tampa Bay Rays. And then Kevin Cash prematurely pulled Blake Snell for honestly no good reason other than his excuse was didn't want to have him go through the lineup 3 times. That pretty much ended the relationship between Snell and the Rays. And I feel like Snell was just a different pitcher after that moment. And tonight he had the tenacity. The Dodgers gave him the leash to go 8 full. I'm with Moose in the chat. I would have probably let him go out there for the 9th, but we can obviously dive into that.
Yeah, we're getting into that.
When Blake Snell was pulled, he was at 103 pitches. But by the way he was pitching, you honestly couldn't tell his pitch count was that high because nobody on the Brewers could touch him by any means. The changeup has just been the pitch for Blake Snell all postseason. Again, no one on the Brewers could touch it tonight. He was lights out against the Cincinnati Reds with that changeup as well. It just has nasty break to it, and it's generating a lot of swings and misses. 4-seamer and the curveball were also working beautifully for Blake Snell too, but he was locked in. He clearly wants to win a World Series, which is to our benefit, obviously. Couldn't be more happy that Dave Roberts elected to go with him for Game 1.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. He's the best pitcher on the planet right now. And the Dodgers, just thinking about the only thing I could think about in that 9th inning when the bases were loaded was, please do not blow this for Blake Snell. Like we did it time and time again in the regular season, whether it was Snell, Yamamoto, Ohtani, a bunch. It was just like they would have these unbelievable starts and then the bullpen would blow it. And it just felt like another one of those moments. But the Dodgers escaped with their lives, and they should be very, very thankful that they were able to do that. And there were so many things in this game, like the Mookie bases loaded walk, that is the difference in the game. I mean, the Dodgers were clinging to a 1-0 lead the entire time. and to even get that extra insurance run at that moment in the ninth inning for the Dodgers was everything for them. So many things had to go their way, when in the first half of the game, it really didn't offensively.
Make sure to smash that like button. We have so much to dive into. So back with Blake Snell, he had 22 whiffs tonight, absolutely fooling the Milwaukee Brewers, who I was surprised coming into the series were actually the best hitting team against left-handed pitching, which I would not have expected, but they were hitting 268 against lefties, which was the best in baseball. And tonight they couldn't touch Blake Snell. And it's nice to have the lefty on our side, because we'll get into this with offense and what we noticed in the Philly series. Our big bats especially, they've been having a very tough time hitting left-handed pitching, between Sanchez and then tonight with got Ashby out of the gate, and they brought in Honing for a minute, however you pronounce it.
Koenig or something.
Yeah. It's been tough, but thankfully we have the best lefty left in the entire postseason on our side, and Blake Snell just deserves all the credit tonight. I'll pull up some quotes from him in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, what else is there to really add about Blake Snell?
He's just a real student of the game. Like I heard his post-game remarks on AM 570, and he was saying that he was up all night trying to figure out how he was going to get these Brewers hitters out, how he was going to attack them. And even during the game, they shot video of Snell talking to Mark Pryor. I mean, nobody was touching Snell, but he was still trying to discuss strategy with the pitching coach during the middle of the best performance of his life. Typically when pitchers are going well, and you see that obviously more for perfect games or no hitters, but usually pitchers get left alone, starting pitchers, but he was still working and trying to figure out how he was going to keep these guys off balance. And he executed to perfection, because none of that matters if you're not executing. And he just everything was working for him tonight.
All right, so let's talk about the decision to pull Blake Snell. What would you have done? People in the chat, what would you have done with Blake Snell as well? Let us know.
This sounds like revisionist history, or not revisionist history, but like, in hindsight's 2020. But I can tell you that in the moment when he got through 8 innings and cruised through 8 innings, it wasn't even a struggle for him. I thought to myself, I know that they're probably going to take him out, but I don't want them to. I wanted to see him go back out for the 9th. I don't think that he would have faltered. I think he would have owned the bottom order of that Brewers lineup. And credit to Roki Sasaki this postseason, because he's been absolutely electric. And I didn't hate the move to go to him there, especially when we got that insurance run up 2-0. With the way that Sasaki's looked in the postseason, I completely understand the move. But here's the thing. What do we talk about all the time? Every time you go to that bullpen, especially this year's bullpen, it's a spin of the chamber. It's Russian roulette. You never know who's coming out of that bullpen. And tonight, they spun the chamber, and it didn't work out for them because Sasaki was shaky and he was all over the place, and they had to bring in Treinen. I just thought with the way Snell was going, they weren't touching him. They weren't even building any rallies against him. He wasn't pitching in and out of trouble. He was cruising. I would have let him go back out there and just say, hey, win us this fucking game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to shy away from it either, because I was texting everyone in the moment. I would just let him continue going until he allows a base runner, and then maybe you make a call to the bullpen. It's not like we noticed a dip in his velocity. Like you said, there wasn't any command issues. He was locked in. And I think you just continue to ride that hot hand. Once you get to the NLCS, I think it's fair game. Pitch counts should be off the table. You have to go for the feel. And the feel, in my opinion, was Blake Snell had it. And I think he would have thrown a complete game shutout. That's how I truly feel. And if he blew it in the 9th, then we're wrong, obviously. But my gut tells me I would have just kept Snell out there until you give us a reason not to.
Absolutely. And I think that the way that this Dodgers team is constructed, they're obviously going against the norm of modern baseball and how you manage a game, especially a playoff game. The Dodgers starting pitchers are going to have a longer leash, and they have the entire postseason because they need it. And the rest of that bullpen isn't being used because there just is no place for some of these guys in these moments. And even the guys that are high leverage, it's like questionable. I mean, outside of Sasaki and Vesia, and Sasaki tonight was shaky, and so was Trinan, before he got the last out. It's like,
Yeah.
who can you really trust down there? And it just feels like the starting pitching is what you can trust. You can trust them. They've shown it time and time again. This is the greatest starting pitching staff the Dodgers have maybe ever had. I don't know, back in the Koufax, Drysdale, Sutton days. I mean, maybe those guys had a better rotation, but honestly, modern day rotation, 1 through 4, I don't know if there's a better one out there. So to me, I just feel like I really wanted to see Blake Snell go back out there. I really did. And I'm glad that it paid off for us in the end, or not really paid off, but we escaped with our lives so that we can have a nuanced discussion about this, because I guarantee you, if we had lost that game, I would have a much different tone.
I'm not a creative when I come up with this name because there's comic characters that exist, but I am calling this Dodgers fearsome four of Roki Sasaki. I'm an idiot. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Blake Snell, Tyler Glasnow, and Shohei Ohtani. They're the Fantastic Four. That is how I truly feel about them. They are the greatest four maybe ever in baseball history in one rotation. And tonight, Blake Snell truly delivered. That changeup had a 61% whiff rate. Absolutely filthy. Over his last 3 postseason starts, all this October, 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 9 strikeouts, a win. That's against the Reds. 6 innings, 0 runs, 9 strikeouts against the Phillies in a win. And then tonight, 8 strikeouts, 0 runs, 10 strikeouts, a win against the Brewers. Absolutely electric stuff from Blake Snell. I don't even know if you can call him the ace, because Yoshinobu Yamamoto has kind of been that guy all year long. But right now, Blake Snell is kind of putting on his best Madison Bumgarner performance.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison. And I think that last year, the ace of the staff in the postseason was Yamamoto. And I think this year it is Snell, clearly. I mean, Yamamoto has been, a little shaky, and they've had to take him out early in games. So I think definitely Blake Snell, that's 100% why he's the game 1 starter for the NLCS.
2
And
Cy Youngs and potentially a World Series this year. That's borderline Hall of Fame status.
It's not. I don't think it's borderline. I think this is a Hall of Fame track. I mean, it really is. I don't know if it's borderline.
Were you going to say something else? Sorry, I might have cut you off.
No, I stopped.
All right, so this bullpen, again, giving us nightmares. So you pull Blake Snell. Okay, well, going to Roki Sasaki is the right call. Can't dispute that. The way Roki Sasaki has been pitching all postseason, ever since they put him into that closer role, he's been lights out. He's been unhittable. He's been electric. He was at a point 9 up, 9 down, something crazy, or whatever it was, 9 up, 9 down in his most recent outing against the Phillies when he went 3 scoreless in that crucial Game 4 that helped the Dodgers win, thanks to the Orion Kirkering error, which maybe we'll talk about again later on. But tonight, Roki Sasaki just didn't have it. His command was a little wild. He was allowing runners to reach base. He gave up a hit. He gave up a walk. I think it was the right call ultimately for Dave Roberts to pull him. So let's stop there real quick. Did you agree with pulling Roki Sasaki in that moment?
Yes, I did. I think that was a great move by Dave Roberts. I think he sensed that he didn't have the command. The fastball velocity just wasn't snapping like we know it can. And that's, if he doesn't have that fastball, it's hard to set up the splitter because you're not establishing the fastball. And that's kind of his bread and butter. So I think Dave sensed that he just didn't have it. And he had Blake Trinan warming up and Vesia behind him. I don't know how warm Vesia was, was he also available at that time? Because I know Trinan was warming up
Yeah.
first. I remember them cutting to the bullpen and seeing Trinan warm up. I don't know. I think pulling Sasaki was the right move, but and again, obviously Trinan was the right move too because they ended up winning the game. But I'm almost wondering if maybe it was better to go to Vesia there.
I'm guessing they didn't go to Vesia because Contreras was up and he is a right-handed bat, and they probably weren't anticipating walking Contreras to load the bases. But ultimately, it did work out. But I mean, Blake Trinan, it wasn't pretty tonight because he did ultimately walk William Contreras. The bases were loaded. He got into a 2-2 count. He also nearly hit Bryce Turang, which I want to talk about in a split second. But that pitch up for a strike, full Turang, kind of seemed like a out of character swing for Turang because that clearly was a ball out of the zone. But we reap the benefits tonight. Blake Trinan gets credit for the save, and a win is a win at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I mean, it counts all the same, right? The Dodgers are up 1-0 in the series by the skin of their teeth. I think that a lot of what happened in this game would befall any other team, like the Yankees, right? Where in that game 5 of the World Series last year, that 5th inning where they just imploded and then they ended up losing that game because they couldn't recover from that. The Dodgers had a similar moment tonight that I felt like if they didn't win this game, they would look back on that 4th inning. And it should be. I think we should talk about that. That crazy play that I've never seen happen
Yeah.
before. The wildest inning-ending double play Max Muncy has ever hit into in his life.
Yes. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it.
One thing real quick, though, just Bryce Turang, when he was asked about getting out of the zone or getting out of the way of what would have been a hit by pitch, he just said natural reaction is to kind of get out of the way of that. But I'm watching the replay over and over, and like if he just kind of stood there, he would have gotten hit and the tying run would have scored. So I wonder
yeah,
if
you gotta wear it. You gotta wear it there. You just have to. And I was trying to think about that moment, and obviously I've never been in Bryce Turang's shoes in this situation, so I don't really have a lot of weight behind what I'm going to say. But I almost wonder, like, was it instinctual? Like your instinct is to try and get out of the way of a ball
that's
that is being
basically what
thrown
he
at
was
you.
saying.
So it's unfortunate that it was just reflexes at that point because the game is happening so fast. And obviously when they replay it, it's in slow motion. So you're like, oh my God, I can't believe he didn't wear that. It's tough. It's a tough situation. So I don't know. I mean, in hindsight, should he have worn it? Of course, it would have tied the game, but that's a tough call.
Yeah, I mean, Trinan threw only 5 strikes tonight, 6 balls. So it wasn't exactly like he was in the zone. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about that crazy inning now.
You want to set it up?
I do not. I think you'll
Okay.
do better than me.
All right. Well, let's go to the 4th inning. So the Dodgers have the bases loaded and 1 out, and Max Muncy at the plate, and he hit a absolute rocket to center field that I thought off the bat was going to leave the park, and it ended up. Who was that in center field? Was that Frelick?
Frelick.
Yeah. So Frelick makes a miracle play on the ball, and it almost looked like he robbed it at first, but then you see the ball deflect off his glove, hit the wall, bounce back, and he ends up catching the ball, and all hell broke loose on the base paths. Teoscar Hernandez, when they replayed it, he was on third base. He tagged up initially, then left the bag, and then saw that Frelick was going to make the catch, so he went back to tag the base and run home. And Frelick, to his credit, made an absolute amazing relay throw to Ortiz, who then relayed it to Contreras, and Teoscar Hernandez was out by a forced play. And the thing that drove me crazy about that, and then of course Will Smith, who also was confused, went back to second, should have gone to third. He gets, the third out at third base, and that's the end of the inning, and the Dodgers don't score any runs, and the score remains 0-0. It really bothered me, though, that Teoscar Hernandez in that moment didn't know the rules, and which is crazy to say, but he didn't. And it's tough when we're talking about Teoscar Hernandez because of how valuable he has been to this team, not only last year, but this year in the postseason. I mean, his home run in the NLDS in game one completely swung the series in our favor. So it's tough to criticize him, but he does make mistakes like this a lot, whether it's defensively or on the base paths. And it is very frustrating because the rule is, Kevin, is that you can take off, you can tag up as soon as the ball touches the mitt. And the reason for that rule is because if a fielder were to then just like juggle the ball all the way to the infield, he could hold the runner at third. So the rule is you can take off as soon as the ball touches your mitt. That's what Teoscar should have done. He did do that initially, but then he returned to the base, and that's why he was out by a few steps. But if he took off immediately like he was supposed to, he scores, and we get at least one run in that situation.
Steven 2415, did the umps blow it there?
No, they didn't. It's not on the umps, or it's not on It's not on the umps to like tell the players what to do. You got to know the rules. It's irrelevant to know if the ball was caught or not, right? Because all you need to be looking for is contact with the glove, and then your head's down and you are running. And Will Smith should have known that too. All of the base runners should have known that.
Smith was telling them to retreat. They
Right.
called that out in the replay. I will be honest, because this was a very confusing play. So there aren't too many plays I can recently recall where I was just completely lost. But in live action, as soon as that ball bounced off Frelick's glove and hit the wall, my initial thought was, okay, this is a base hit. Like, we should be taking off. But at the same time, I feel like it should have been maybe part of the umpire's due diligence to acknowledge this ball is in play. But maybe I'm just missing that part. But I'm kind of in line here with call me _Astro. Isn't that Dino's job to tell him what to do? I feel like there was a miscommunication on Dino's part. I don't know if there's been any post-game quotes from Dino himself. They don't normally interview the third base coach. And I wasn't really finding anything in general about them asking any Dodgers players or Dave Roberts about this. But there have been a number of Dino Ebel hiccups over the years. And I feel like this is kind of another one that should have stood out more had we lost this game. But fortunately, we didn't. But I do feel like Dino needed to do a better job to communicate to everyone, like, go. Because I think he was just standing there, to be honest.
I think on the replay, I saw him as soon as Teoscar went back, like motioned back to the base, I saw him waving him like to go, to take off. It's hard to say though how much blame he gets in this situation, because we don't know if he was trying to yell and Teoscar couldn't hear it. I mean, it is so loud in that ballpark, and the Dodgers are on the road. I think even at home it would have been crazy. So, and again, you have to realize, like I said before about the Bryce Terang, getting out of the way of the ball. It's like you watch in slow motion, so easy to see that he, it popped out of his glove and hit the wall. So it's in play. In real time, it happens so fast. But that's the thing. It's like, in that situation, the play is in front of you when you're on third base. So you need to be looking at the fielder. You cannot be relying on the third base coach at that point. The third base coach should be just focused on the runner at second. That's his responsibility. But to me, it's like, if you're Teoscar Hernandez, you got to know as soon as the contact is made, you're off. That's it. You're not even looking back. And he's going to be safe at home. Even, and again, I don't know. I think if the run had crossed the plate, like, because let's say Will Smith was still hung out to dry.
Yeah.
At, in between second and third, and they get the out there, I'm pretty sure the run does still count if the run scores before that.
Yeah, I think if the run scores before the third out, you get credit for the run there. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, after reviewing it multiple times, I think the ultimate culprit and who deserves the most criticism here, even though he probably won't take accountability, is Teoscar Hernandez, because you need to know the rule there, especially when you're at third base. It was a critical run at that point. It would have been the first run of the ball game for the Dodgers. And Muncy had a huge hit, and unfortunately that killed the rally. And so Muncy will get the hit, but no RBIs. And it could have gone a lot worse.
Right.
I think
Because
it's a
it
pretty good
honestly,
question.
it was like the three stages of grief. It was like at first it was like, oh my God, you're thinking it's a home run. Okay, he robbed it. That sucks. At least we're getting a run. Oh my God, he's the ball's still in play, and then disaster struck, and it was just like, what happened? But yeah, I mean, you're a Major League Baseball player. You got to know the rules. You can't be relying on the umpire. You can't be relying on the third base coach, especially in the playoffs when it's all fucking crazy anyway, and it's so goddamn loud in there that you got to rely on your own skills at that point.
From Maria G, what does Andy Pajez's average need to be for Roberts to sit him the F down? I guess I'll start with this one because
Yeah.
I have an opinion. I'm not benching Andy Pajez at any cost right now, because at least you get the glove in center field, and I need that consistency in the outfield right now, especially with Teoscar being a liability. Edman has some question marks with that ankle. Pajez has not been pretty up there. His batting average is like below .040 at this point. Even his big knock against Kirkering was still an out, but at least he put the ball in play. So I'm not going to hate on him for that, because I'll take a ball in play over a strikeout any day. But they're batting Pajez like 8th or 9th at times. So he's way down in there. He's way down there in the batting order. Because the Dodgers are winning games right now, I don't feel a need to pull Andy Pajez, because what are the better options right now? I'm not going with Alex Call. I'm not going to go with Hesung Kim. You have a backup catcher, and you have Miguel Rojas, who's not an outfielder. So I will keep Andy Pajez.
Is Kim on the roster?
Yes.
He is? Okay. Yeah, and you're not going with Justin Dean either. So I think what they need to do with Andy is not have him bat ninth, because he is allergic to walking. Like, he just will not take a walk. And that's the key in that 9 hole for the Dodgers. Get on base for Shohei. That's your job. And Andy is just not doing that. So batting him ninth is not a good spot for him in the order. At least move him up one spot.
But then it would be Kike ninth?
Sure. I would much rather have Kike ninth, Edman ninth, Muncy. I don't care. Someone at the bottom of that order that can turn it over. And Paz is not doing that right now. But I agree with you. I think they should keep him in the lineup. There's no better option, and the defense speaks for itself.
Yeah, he's hitting 037.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He did lay down a nice sacrifice bunt today, though.
He did bunt. Yes, you were right there. So he's doing the intangibles. So again, I have no reason to pull Pajez. I think hitting him ninth is fine. I don't think there's a big difference between batting 8th or batting ninth, to be honest, anymore, especially when there's no pitcher in the lineup. So I don't think it's going to make a big difference.
It is. I think it does matter for this lineup. I think it does, because Pajez is not getting on for Ohtani, and then Ohtani's just always coming up with nobody on base.
But in this game, Ohtani did come up with people on base, but they walked him 3 times. Like, they clearly made it a point. We're not going to let Shohei Ohtani beat us tonight. They kept walking him.
That's fine. But my point is that, let's say Pajez is leading off an inning and he gets on first base, then they're not going to walk Ohtani. Then they're going to pitch to him.
Yes, that is true. But
if they do pitch around him, then you get a guy in scoring position.
It's just the counter to that, though, is if Kike is up with 2 outs and there's runner on, don't you want him batting instead of Pajez? So it kind of goes
Yes.
either way.
I guess so. I guess so.
It's a
I
hairy
see.
situation.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Ultimately, I've always been kind of the guy, like, I want the top hitters near the top. And yes, a table setter is nice at times in the 9-hole. I think they would do Tommy Edman if the Brewers weren't going to mix in so many lefties, but because they're mixing in a bunch of lefties, they want Tommy Edman kind of more up there in the middle for that platoon advantage. And so I think the Dodgers kind of have to play to the competition. And the Brewers are trying to play a lot of mind games right now, and it's not quite working because, like, I got to be honest, even though Quentin Priester is credited with 0 earned runs, he did not move me at all tonight. He got lucky with that whole debacle we were just talking about. He should have been roughed up. Patrick as well, Chad Patrick, again, not impressive. These are back-end starters that the Brewers are mixing into their bullpen right now. I mean, the only guy that was flat out filthy, and I don't want to see him more, even though we will definitely will, is Jared Koenig. He was nasty.
He was, but I agree. The Dodgers definitely should have been up by a lot more than 1 run the entire time. The Freddie Freeman solo shot should not have been it for the Dodgers offense tonight. A Freddie Freeman solo shot and a Mookie Betts bases loaded walk, that was all we could muster. And I think the offense was better tonight than it has been in some of these other playoff games that they've played. We talked about that incredible debacle because in that inning they were cooking, and Max Muncy hit the shit out of that ball, and it should have meant more runs for the Dodgers. So I was encouraged by the innings that they built because they did build a lot of innings. It wasn't like they were, going 3 up, 3 down every single inning. They were making these pitchers work, and it was so important that of these 2 games to win the first game, because game 2, they've got Freddie Peralta going for them. That's their best starting pitcher. So to go up into that game 2 up 1-0 is massive. And escaping how they did tonight, that cannot be overlooked.
Yeah, Freddie Freeman, I'm glad you brought him up because I did want to talk about that home run. So we didn't get to talk about, we didn't do a preview. So we didn't get to drop kind of our predictions of who we think will win NLCS MVP. So now I'm going to look like kind of an idiot because he hit a home run tonight. But going into this series, I wanted to go with Freddie Freeman as my NLCS MVP. I think that narrative might change now with the way Blake Snell pitched tonight, even though he might only appear in 1 game of this series. If it's a sweep, crossing my fingers, I would give it to Blake Snell right now, regardless of probably what happens. But Freddie Freeman, from a position player standpoint, I felt good about him going into this series, especially on the road in Milwaukee, because his lifetime OPS in Milwaukee is near 900, and he's got a good amount of home runs. I got to pull it up. I want to say it was like 6 or 11 or something, but regardless, he's had a lot of success in Milwaukee, and that home run he hit tonight was a statement because he needed it. He was struggling in that Philly series. So it was good to see Freddie Freeman unlock some power.
Yes, I agree. And I think you're right in this. Yeah, I think you're right in the strategy that they're employing against Shohei. They're pitching around Shohei. They're going after Mookie, and they're going after Freddie. And I think that having Freddie Freeman in the postseason on your team is one of the greatest advantages you can have because he's one of the best hitters of all time. And he shows up when the lights are brightest. And like you said, at that ballpark, he rakes. And to put the Dodgers on the board, give us a lead is massive because the Dodgers this year have been playing from behind a lot. And so to have a lead, to be playing with a lead is massive. And with the way Blake Snell was going tonight, I even if the Dodgers did not get the insurance run in the last inning to put them up 2-0, I think Blake Snell's winning this game 1-0 if he's allowed to go to the 9th inning.
Not to rub it in, but that Max Muncy double play would have been a home run at Dodger Stadium. So,
oh yeah, the ball was absolutely tattooed. It would have left the park. It should have been 4-0 Dodgers.
404 feet.
Yeah,
and it was technically a hit, but we didn't get the benefit because of the.
Yeah, it was a 404-foot foot inning-ending double play.
Just our luck. But no, with Freddie Freeman, I'll say it again because why not? I just can't believe the Atlanta Braves let him walk away. Like, what the hell are you thinking in Atlanta?
After just winning the World Series.
Yeah, you just won the World Series. He was in the thick of his prime. It wasn't even that big of a money issue because you didn't have any issues paying Matt Olson. Like, you let your franchise player just leave town because you were stubborn or you didn't want to give him the extra year, and he's off to the Dodgers now, where they have since won a World Series and maybe a second soon. And the Braves have missed the playoffs.
Yeah. Did they think that he was like over the hill, or like that he was going to be washed soon or something like that? And they decided, let's go with someone a little bit younger. I don't know. But to me, it's like he's a guy that grew up in your organization, became your franchise player, won you a World Series. And by the way, the previous year won MVP. So he's coming off MVP, then World Series, and that's it. That's it. It's like, yeah, just a bonehead organizational move. The Dodgers would never do something like that with this group that they have. They did it with like Piazza and all that back in the day, but
yeah,
not with this ownership group.
Incompetent ownership that we should just never talk about again. But the Guggenheims, they know ball, and they're building a dynasty here. It's going to be really interesting because I still feel like Freddie Freeman's heart is in Atlanta at the end of the day, but he's going to go into the Hall of Fame, and I'm guessing the voters and all the committee make him go in as a Brave. But the Dodgers should probably consider retiring that number 5.
I would.
I mean, he's going to be Hall of Famer too.
I mean, isn't Steve Garvey's number retired in San Diego? Like,
yeah.
I mean, come on. He meant more to the Dodgers than the Padres, right? I mean, I'm not crazy. So yeah, I think the Dodgers definitely should retire Freddie Freeman. He is a Hall of Famer, like first ballot. If he's not unanimous, I don't know what,
Oh, definitely. Make sure to smash that like button if you haven't yet. Hit the subscribe button and turn notifications on as well. Send us some good questions. We'll take some good questions from all our listeners. So drop those in the chat as well. Game 2. I want to pivot to that real quick. So Freddie Peralta will be the starter for the Brewers. That's the one pitcher that they've been completely transparent about. Honestly, he's really the only starting pitcher that they have left that they trust and are willing to go with without an opener. Lifetime against the Dodgers, Mookie Betts 1 for 12 against him. Tommy Edmonds 6 for 24. Freddie Freeman is hitting .231 with a home run. Kike's 2 for 5. Muncie's 2 for 10. Ohtani's 3 for 9 with 2 home runs and a 1,500 OPS. Pages 0 for 7. Rojas 4 for 16. Will Smith 4 for 13. 1 home run. So the track record speaks for itself. The Dodgers have not had a lot of success against Freddie Peralta. What would be your strategy to kind of attack him? Because I feel like the obvious thing is to work his pitch count.
Yeah, they got to work his pitch count. Let's get into that bullpen again. Make them use more of their arms. Get more looks at their guys. I mean, they put up a run against one of their best guys tonight, Uribe. So. Yeah. Let's see him again. Let's see that Koenig guy again. The Dodgers just need to grind out at bats, and if they can do that, then they're going to get to Freddie Peralta. For the Dodgers, it would be nice to give Yamamoto a lead when he takes the mound in the bottom of the first inning. That's what would be great. I mean, like you mentioned, Ohtani is the one who crushes Peralta, so it'd be nice to get on the board early.
I think it's a small advantage, but I'm not going to put too much stock into it. The one nice thing is that the Dodgers did make the Brewers bullpen work tonight. We did see a lot of their key relievers. So having to potentially face them on a back-to-back, I only see that as a net positive for us. While our bullpen overall is fairly rested. With Peralta, I do think this has to be a game where Shohei Ohtani leaves his mark. Obviously, if they're going to throw balls to him and walk him, then there's nothing he can do. But it's time for him to bust out of this slump. It's time for him to have a statement game. And I want to see Ohtani get some extra base hits, or at least get on base against Peralta and help set the table for the Dodgers, because we've really been lacking that since the Red Series. He was good in that wild card round and then has kind of been utterly disappointing since.
Yeah, he's faced a lot tougher pitching against the Phillies and now against the Milwaukee Brewers. And it's clear they're just going to throw left-handed, hard-throwing lefties at Ohtani all day long. And that has been the strategy. It has worked. He looks a little flummoxed up there. He looks a little fooled, like they're deceiving him up there. There's a lot of fastballs that he takes down the middle where you're kind of like, whoa, like that's kind of a strange thing to see him do. And it just kind of tells me that he's just not locked in against these guys. Like he's just not picking it up out of the hand. So yeah, it's been a little underwhelming from him at the plate. I'm hoping, like you said, like he puts his mark on this series and says, we're not screwing around here. We escaped game 1. We're taking game 2, and we're going back to LA up 2-0.
Yes. And now looking towards Yoshinobu Yamamoto, this is a huge redemption start for 2 reasons. One, he got absolutely annihilated the last time he pitched in Milwaukee, had arguably the worst start of his career. This was right around the All-Star break as well. He got 2 outs in Milwaukee, and he gave up 3 earned runs, 5 runs total. They pulled him after 41 pitches, and yeah, he only got 2 outs. And so point number 2, he didn't have his best stuff either against the Philadelphia Phillies. So I feel like coming into this game, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, if there's any pitcher I'm willing to bet on for a bounce back right now, it's this guy. Snell has been the hot one right now, but Yoshinobu Yamamoto is still our ace at the end of the day. And I would put all my eggs in his basket tomorrow. I feel very good with Yamamoto on the mound.
I do too. I think after what Snell did tonight, we saw them interacting in the dugout. They're very it's like this starting staff has become a real unit. Just like the bullpen dogs from last year. Like this year has been the starting staff that is just band together, and they're an unstoppable force. And I think they feed off each other, and there's a lot of chemistry there. There's a lot of respect there. And I'm with you. I think Yamamoto brings it tomorrow.
Kind of forecasting, which I know is tough. How do you think the game script would go in a perfect world
Tomorrow, pitching wise?
Yes.
I think Yamamoto goes 7 or 8, and we turn the ball over to Vesia, and I'd go back to Sasaki. Unless that velocity isn't there, that kind of scared me a little bit. What did you think about that?
I just think it was an off night. My guess is he's going to go 6 innings, maybe give up a run or 2, and then they're going to go to the bullpen for the final 9 outs. I think you're going to see some Jack Dreyer, especially if Yelich and Turang are up. I would also not be shocked if Alex Vesia pitches in high leverage tomorrow. And I don't know if they're going to go to Roki Sasaki on back-to-back nights. That's a major wild card, especially given he didn't look that great tonight. So I think if they can, they're going to try to avoid it. I wouldn't be shocked if they go Vesia in the 9th, to be honest, if he's available at that moment in time. Also, I know it was really dicey, but they also might just go back to Blake Trinan in the 9th if it's the bottom of the Brewers order. But honestly, my gut tells me they're going to try.
What about Sheehan?
Great. I'm glad you brought him up. Yes, he's another guy that I think he would make sense to potentially get 6 outs tomorrow if they want to ride his hot hand. I think
if you go Yamamoto, Sheehan, Vesia, I like that too.
Yeah. I love the Sheehan call. I would love to get him into the game. I think Emmett Sheehan has been sensational all year long, and he just needs to get a little bit more comfortable pitching in relief. but I'm not expecting Sasaki to pitch.
I think I'm with you in the sense that they'll try to stay away from him, but I think they got to have him ready because you just never know. And I wouldn't mind having him on back-to-back nights.
Totally. What else? So saw some people asking who else would we expect the Brewers to start in this series. I mean, I don't know if he'll go game 3 or game 4, but Jacob Mizorowski is definitely a lock to start or pitch in bulk in one of these games. And I think the Dodgers would love some revenge on Mizorowski because the one time they faced him, which was early in his career at the majors, he dominated us. We could not touch him. It was a game that just pissed me off. He was dotting 100 miles per hour. He ultimately struck out 12
right?
Dodgers.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's ingrained in my head too.
I want revenge on him.
Yeah, I do too. I think the Dodgers getting another look at him, and since he did that to the Dodgers, he's kind of looked a little more human as he kind of made his way around the league. So, he had like a 4 ERA or something. Ended up with. Yep. So I think, but yeah, he's definitely pitching in this series. And they don't really have anybody else to go to. Oh, what about Quintana?
Quintana's going to either be he's either going game 3 or game 4, but he might have an opener.
Quintana can sometimes get us, so I would be surprised if they didn't use him.
Well, he obviously was on the Mets last year, and I thought we took it to him.
We've taken it to him, but there have been times where he's carved.
I feel like regular season Quintana gets us, but then playoff Quintana, we annihilate. Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. We got 5 runs off him.
Yeah.
I don't know what game this was. It says October 17th. So that must have been game 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Playoff Quintana has a track record of getting owned by the Dodgers. I mean, look at 2017, Kike Hernandez 3 home run night.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You're right about that.
Who do you think what do you think the Dodgers order is going to be in the rotation? So we've got games 1 and 2. I feel like there's a little bit of a mystery of games 3 and 4, but Dave Roberts said they know who they're going with.
It makes me think that they're going Glass now. I think that what they're thinking is, or maybe I don't know what they're thinking, but my thought is that there's this narrative that Ohtani doesn't hit well if he's pitching. So maybe they're trying to just give him A, more rest, but B, try to get his bat going a little bit before they have to throw him out there. But yeah, if I had to bet on it, I would say Glass now.
I'm with you. I think they want to avoid having Shohei Ohtani pitch twice in this series because of the rest factor. If he pitched game 3, then it's likely his turn in a potential game 7, but he wouldn't be on the full 6 or 7 days rest that he's accustomed to. So they'll probably use him in a game 4. And yeah, maybe the other factor you mentioned, let him focus on his hitting as well. I wouldn't be surprised with that aspect, but yeah, I'm guessing it's Glass now. He pitched great in his last start in that game 4 against the Philadelphia Phillies. So I trust him. Orion Kerkering, Jake, what were your thoughts when that went down?
That was a crazy moment that I heard on the radio. I was driving. I had a softball game that night, so I was driving to the field and I was listening to Steven Nelson on the call, and it was pandemonium. Like watching that replay, it was like, again, what we talked about tonight with Teoscar Hernandez not knowing the rules or not being able to compute in real time what to do. It's like Kerkering had to know that even after the bobble, like, you still have time to get the out at first. And to be honest, that should have been his only priority. It's like that's the easiest out to get, the one at first. The one at home is much more stressful. And so when he picked the ball back up, it was like, oh, I thought he was just going to throw it to first and get Pages out, but he just threw it away. You know what I couldn't stop watching though, Kevin, was those Phillies fans reaction videos. I mean, just the pure
Yeah.
shock and despair on the faces, and oh my god, it was a little cathartic because of the many times that the Phillies have done that to us in terms of playoff disasters. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of nice to see it.
I tuned into Philadelphia sports talk radio because I just had to know what they were saying. This one show host went to the full extreme. He said, you have to tear down Citizens Bank Ballpark because the Phillies can't handle playing in that stadium. He
Wow.
also, another one, wanted to just blow up the team in general. He said, get rid of Harper. He's washed. Kyle Schwarber's probably gone. They're going to lose Rio Muto and Suarez. These Philly fans were reeling. And it was also the same night they lost to the New York Giants. But they also said you have to get rid of Kerkering, which I don't know if I agree with that, but I guess that's a storyline to watch this offseason.
Well, I think it's coming from a place of they're just tired of this same group of guys not reaching the pinnacle, right?
Yeah.
Like this has been the group that sort of came on fire in 2022 and then since then have just not been able to get over the hill. And so I
that's
think
what
they're frustrated.
The other point that was brought up a few times, which I didn't realize because I don't follow the Phillies that deeply, is that Kerkering all season long struggled with inherited runners. So it kind of makes me wonder if we can add this to the catalog now of Rob Thompson going to Kerkering with runners on rather than maybe sticking with Luzardo.
Yeah, and I think Luzardo had dominated the Dodgers up until that inning. And so yeah, I think that it was very peculiar to me that they ended up taking him out.
Jacob Perez would Snell pitch for a potential Game 7. Highly unlikely because the way it's looking right now, Blake Snell would pitch Game 5. So if you have Blake Snell pitch a Game 7, that's got to be like 3 days rest, and I don't think you do that in an NLCS.
No, and with the way the Dodgers rotation is set up and with the arms that they have, they don't need to. That's an old like Clayton Kershaw thing that they used to do to him when Clayton was the only guy we had, or one of two or three really good starting pitchers. Like this is you can't go wrong with Snell, Glasnow, Yamamoto, or Ohtani. You just can't.
Yes. Let's do a last call for questions. People, make sure to drop your questions for us. We're gonna head out, not too long from now. So want to make sure we get any of your guys' questions in, whether it's the NLCS, NLDS, if you had questions about that, Dodgers lineup moves, anything on your mind. So just the other thing that I wanted to just quickly cover. So in terms of just the environment in Dodger Stadium. So let's talk about how well the Dodgers have been playing on the road, because right now they're 3-0 on the road. I think that has to be something you have to give this team a lot of credit to, because during the regular season they were a 500 team, but they've now won 2 games in Philadelphia, which was arguably the toughest environment during the regular season based off just the way things went. And then taking Game 1 tonight in Milwaukee, which was absolutely massive because those fans, they were in it. But the Dodgers pitching, obviously Snell kind of kept the fans on their seat for the most part in the later half of the game till the 9th inning. I just love the focus that the Dodgers are demonstrating right now on the road.
Yeah, and it just shows you how neutralizing the starting staff is. They are able to not only keep really good hitters at bay, but take the crowd out of the game. And that is a huge advantage for the Dodgers to be able to do that. I mean, you saw what happened with the chaos that we talked about in the 4th inning. That could have derailed any other team, but the fact that Blake Snell went out there and just didn't allow anything the rest of the game was like, oh, he just took the air out of the building, took the momentum away from the Brewers, and they were never able to recover from that.
We'll go with the questions first, then I'm going to victory lap because I haven't done that yet about Blake Snell. But from Call Me _Astro, who has the big offensive game for the Dodgers tomorrow? He feels like someone is bound to go on a tear. Call your shot.
Well, my NLCS MVP pick, we didn't say it because we didn't do a preview show like you mentioned. Was going to be Mookie Betts, and after what I saw from him in the first 2 rounds, I just was like, this could be a series where Mookie Betts really goes off. Tonight, he didn't really do much except for that walk, which was unbelievable, and the fact that he's had 2 unbelievably clutch and meaningful bases loaded walks that have been the differences in games that the Dodgers have won in the postseason is unbelievable. So I think at the very least he's seeing the ball well, and I just would like to see some production offensively from him. So he's my pick.
We've got a Freddie from BC. We've got Kike Tober from N Rocks. Anna Pineda likes that Freddie woke up today. I'm going with Shohei Ohtani, which I feel like is fair to say at this point, given his poor production the last 4 or 5 games. Tomorrow, Ohtani has a big game too. He gets the monkey off his back, and he helps propel the Dodgers to a 2-0 series lead. I'm going Shohei Ohtani.
I love it. If they give him a pitch to hit and he does it, then I'm with you.
So my victory lap on November 4th, I said the Dodgers need to sign Blake Snell in free agency. I got a flurry of comments of people saying, why would you ever want to sign Blake Snell? Some people said he's a clubhouse cancer. Other people said he was over the hill. A lot of people had pushback and said they wanted Max Fried over Blake Snell. Are you convinced yet that Blake Snell was the obvious guy? Because I don't think there's a better free agent signing from this most recent offseason that's been better than Blake Snell.
100%. Like I said at the beginning, we're looking at one of the all-time greats here. We're looking at one of the all-time postseason pitchers ever. And to me, and I don't know, the clubhouse cancer stuff, like that's obviously bullshit. I mean, everybody loves him in that clubhouse. He is so committed to winning, and he's become a leader too. He's very confident that the Dodgers are going to win every one of these series. Like he just believes in this team. So he is a terrific person, a terrific pitcher, and you can count on him when you really need to. I mean, that's just, yeah, it's a no-brainer. I mean, to see what he's done in the postseason for us has just been remarkable.
And I think you brought it up earlier as well. Even during the game, he studies film. He studies the scouting report. He doesn't take an inning off. He just puts his mindset into what am I going to do the next time I go out there while the Dodgers are batting? He was locked in tonight. He's been locked in pretty much all season long for the Dodgers. And I mean, we're just so happy. I mean, I'm looking at a picture right now of it's got Blake Snell studying a clipboard or a binder with notes in it, locked in.
Yeah, with Mark Pryor.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, I guess this I'll go with my my final thoughts because I feel like we've covered a lot tonight, and the only thing I can think about that is giving me any peace is that the Dodgers won this game. Like I can't believe they did because of how many times during the regular season they didn't get it done in these exact situations. So to pull a rabbit out of their hats tonight like they did in the playoffs is, I mean, it was very scary, but it's also a massive feat. And I think confidence-wise, a massive boost for this bullpen that they were able to walk a tightrope and get out of it. That's my spin. That's what I'm hoping that they take away from this is that even when things aren't going their way, they still find a way to win. And going up 1-0 in Milwaukee going into game 2, facing their best starter, that's the best position you can be in.
Just some last minute things I'm seeing. Dave Roberts called it a 50-50 decision to pull Blake Snell after the 8th inning. Said that Roki Sasaki had been pitching recently. Said the way Roki Sasaki had been pitching recently, and the fact that Snell would likely go on regular rest in a game 5 were among the factors he was considering. Okay, whatever. We're over.
I honestly didn't hate the move. We were up 2-0, and Sasaki's been amazing, so I didn't hate the move. But as a fan, and as someone that has the most confidence I've ever had in a player in Blake Snell, I wanted to see him finish the job.
Yeah. Dave Roberts also, I heard this earlier before we went on when I was listening to him. He mentioned that this Blake Snell pitching performance was maybe the best playoff performance he's ever seen in his life from a starter.
Yeah, I believe it. It's one of the greatest outings I've ever seen.
Yeah. My final thoughts are pretty much already said. So I don't even have any final thoughts, to be honest. My final thoughts are going to be stupid. It's the Dodgers are now 6-1 since shoving Michael Conforto to the cheerleader mode. 6-1.
I mean, just laughable how often he was in the lineup for them to just completely kick him to the curb for the postseason.
I honestly think he's the reason our record was as bad as it was. Him and Tanner Scott, neither have seen a single inning in the postseason, and we're taking off. So maybe they are really the LVPs.
Yeah, I mean, it was the most obvious decision of all time. So I'm glad that they went and did the obvious thing.
Thank you. Justin Dean can wear that ring more proudly than Michael Conforto. Just saying it.
Yeah, I guess.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning into our Game 1 post-game show of the NLCS. The Dodgers have a 1-0 lead over the Milwaukee Brewers. Game 2 happening with Yamamoto, Freddie Peralta. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. Drop a prediction below in the comments. If you're listening on the audio feeds like Spotify or Apple, hit that subscribe, hit that 5 stars. Thank you guys.